We're
We're
live.
good.
Call the meeting to order of the Park and Recreation at 6:31. Roll call. All commissioners are present except for our two. Oh, here comes someone right now. So I'll hold the phone. Good evening.
Welcome.
Come take your seat. We've started the meeting. Two of our new commissioners and staff is present, all accounted for, all departments.
A lot of stuff.
Yes. So we're going to do the introductions of the new commissioners, and being seated right now is Commissioner, and I always say your name wrong.
Teresa Jimenez.
Talking to your mic.
Oh, all right. Teresa Jimenez.
So,
Welcome.
Welcome. Hey,
we'll
good
have to
you
share
here.
this. Do you know everyone yet, Teresa?
No.
Okay.
Matt, you know me, Madison.
Bonnie Bolagoff.
You know me, Renee.
I know Karen.
Hi, I'm Jamie Dunn. Hi, Teresa.
Hi, thank you.
And then Lyle, which I haven't met yet either. So hopefully he'll be coming shortly. Okay, well, welcome to the Commission of the Parks and Recreation, and we hope you have fabulous ideas.
A lot of energy.
Yes, thank you. Okay, we need an adoption of the agenda. Are there any deletions, additions, or changes?
I move that we adopt it as presented.
Okay, wait.
One moment, please. Just wanted to see if this was one that I wrote on. I'm just checking for sure.
Oh, okay.
This is for the agenda, not the minutes.
Right, thank you. We're all set.
So I moved.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Aye.
Approval of the minutes of February 4th.
I move to approve the minutes.
Just give me 1 second to look for notes. There were a couple of things that I saw
Okay,
that I would like to mention.
okay.
Under subcommittees, we mentioned the fundraising committee, and I want to be sure, actually, I'm not sure if it was at this meeting or the 18th, in which the fundraising committee was mentioned. And at that time, it was reported during the meeting that the city initiated the fundraising committee due to the recession. And that isn't so. What happened actually was we were given a list of activities that they wanted us to see how much more we could charge for, or how many charges, what amount of money we could charge for each individual child. And I was against it because I didn't feel we should be putting it on the families. I thought it was too much to be asking families to be paying. And so I asked if we could have a fundraising committee, and it was initiated at that time. That was the beginning of the fundraising committee. Under concerts in the park, it says that Commissioner Dunn spoke regarding changing of the event to July. What happened at our meeting was that it was said it has been changed to July, and I questioned it because I was concerned that that would only be in July, and I wanted to know why we weren't extending it, and I requested that we extend the season into August and not just keep it in July.
Okay. Trish, did you get those changes? Okay.
Under seniors, on page 3, we talked about the subsidization of the senior club by the city, and we talked at that time about not calling it as such a club. We're going to think of another way to advertise it so that people would get an idea of the fact that it was not a private group, that this was totally open to everyone. and that, in fact, it says here we want to make sure that the public knows these are two separate programs. These are actually, we don't have to say they're so separate, they're different services provided by the city for seniors. And I'd like us to think about that. Under commissioners, it says that Commissioner Dunn would like to do more with our Park Lane basketball courts by creating competitions for middle school age children. Now that it was not what I asked. I wanted older teens and young adults, and I wanted to assure the appropriate use of the courts. Because I'm concerned about children, older teens and young adults, because the younger kids are really under the tutelage of the family. The parents really have a lot to say about them. They have their teachers, they have groups and so forth. But we hit that group of teenagers that don't have that much support. They're out to high school, and I want to be sure that we don't have a gap in service, so they're not being served. And under the programs report, I asked at that time if we could utilize Channel 27 to advertise programs. So it says staff discussed it, but actually it was brought up by the commission. And that is all from March 10th.
Okay. Do they just do a highlight of these minutes? And because I know in the past we used to do verbatim word
Right,
for
I mean,
word.
yeah, when we stopped having somebody transcribe meetings for us, we went to more of action minutes and just capturing the sense of what was going on.
Okay.
And I think that's fine, but I think there's a big difference between middle school children and older
No,
teens and young adults.
that's fine. I mean, make the changes.
Thank you.
Okay. So is there a second to these? So I guess we gotta make a motion to
I'll make another motion.
Amended.
amend the minutes.
Move to approve the amended minutes of February 4th.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Citizen communications. You have any citizens that want to communicate to us right now? Did you come forward and state your name? Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name's Colleen Mackin. I live at 161 San Bruno Avenue. I'm here tonight. I spoke to Tricia, was kind enough to spend some time fielding a phone call, and I learned a lot from talking to her. I'm calling regarding the community park rentals. I live 3 blocks away from the community park. I pity the people who live at 1 San Bruno. We have a lot of events in Brisbane which are community-oriented in the park, and I think they're wonderful. We have concerts, we have the community event in the fall. It seems though every weekend now there's an event in the park, and I can be in the dead of winter with all the windows closed in the house, and I'm getting a broadcast concert that I don't know that the city knows some of these are going on. And I did speak to Trish about the form used and the process to reserve a space in the park, and she mentioned that the topic of noise and the noise ordinances, she goes over that with whatever party comes in to fill out a form. I also went and looked on the website and looked at the form, and there's I'm looking at community park guidelines, and it very clearly here I've highlighted states no person shall use or permit the use of any sound amplification device in any portion of the park without specific permission of the City of Brisbane. All noise being emitted from said gathering must comply with the City of Brisbane noise ordinance. And Trish also said she usually hands them a copy of the noise ordinance. So one thing I would ask all of you, since I'm hearing impromptu rock concerts and speakers with all kinds of things. One weekend, it was a church event with someone preaching for hours. I felt like I was in the church. I have nothing against the the religion, the concerts, some of the music I might like, but equally important is the fact that residents should be entitled to the quiet and peaceful enjoyment of their property. We set aside times for events and noise. And the more this happens impromptu in the park, one weekend it was a rock band in the gazebo, and I thought, wow, I didn't see that on the board. Maybe people take it for granted, but also, I mean, in fairness, I went, do they really understand? Maybe they think it's okay. And even if Trish is kind enough to go over the guidelines, how many of you, if I said you can't exceed 20 decibels, do you know what that is? Most people don't. And they might think, okay, I brought a boom box and a couple extra speakers, and we're just going to crank it up because we got 100, 150 people here, and it'll be okay. It's just in the park. And they don't realize because of the bowl shape of Brisbane, they're broadcasting to a lot of streets away. And I'm not the only one. I've had neighbors have mentioned it to me as well, feel like I have to sit in 80-degree weather with all the windows closed in my house and I can still hear it. So what I would ask of you, I know that there's a new noise ordinance that the council is going to consider, but a couple things I discussed with Trish is first of all, amplifying noise and broadcasting are two different concepts. And I think that's readily understandable if I said amplifying versus broadcasting. And also holding a group gathering in the park versus an event, a city-sanctioned event, are totally two different concepts. So perhaps if there was signage in the gazebo that said use of this property for any unpermitted event or broadcast of amplified music is expressly prohibited. Brisbane Municipal Code, blah, blah, blah. The key word being permit. So as I understand it, the permits right now for even events are maybe all the same permit. I don't know. I couldn't tell from the website. But perhaps it would be worthy to consider two types of permits, event permits and the day use permit, as two different things. So signage in the gazebo. And the second is perhaps consider, I think Trish made some copies for all of you, revision of the language on this guidelines form, incorporating either stronger language or more informative about amplified, because it's not just music. Like I said, the one day there was a preacher and it was loud. So it's speech, sounds, and music. Those are three different things. And I understand that the new noise ordinance may make it easier to enforce. But I wouldn't want to be with the Brisbane police and have to be running to the park all the time. So I would just, from my point of view, alleviating the burden on our police department, have bigger and better things to do than run to the park and then go back in 10 minutes and check it again. And sometimes, quite frankly, they might say turn it down, and 15, 45 minutes later, they crank it back up. So making it really clear on the get-go, handing someone the noise ordinance, I don't think it translates. I think that people, because Trish said, and she can talk to you, they'll go, oh, yeah, I get it, I understand. But do they really understand decibels and what's permitted? So signage and also something more descriptive than just saying the ordinance and decibels. Okay, so that's all I have to say, and whatever you can do with it, I will be so pleased. And many of my neighbors, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Colin.
Thank you. We'll put that on the agenda. Okay, thank you. Any more citizen communications? Okay. Old business. We're going to revisit the values and mission statement. Which we have Karen's email that she has. And can we put this on the overhead so the public, by chance, so they know what we're talking about? Please, thank you.
So that's all together. I don't know if this, since this is on colored paper, Stuart, I don't know if this is going to come out, but this has just the information. Plus, I also wrote down, I found a Los Angeles one that's excellent, so I just added it. in case people
And
work with it.
you know what I noticed too, that when we were going through some of this budget, they would have the mission statement.
I did notice that. And I just wanted to ask for a little clarification, Stuart. So we started looking at this mission statement because the Parks and Recreation Department and each division created mission statements, right, Stuart? And so we thought that the commission as a whole, or actually it was more of the entire department and commission, should have one mission statement. And it's often something that's on the websites for Parks and Recreation for cities. So it might be something that would go on there. So this is just to clarify for the new commissioners that this is for the Parks and Recreation Commission and department combined.
Yeah, because when I was just looking at this says
Boy, that's blurred.
Park and Recreation Administrative Program. So maybe, do they
So
have
we-
their own?
Yeah, so we started talking about this before and started throwing out some ideas, and I just kind of combined them into a sentence. Since then, I have done a little bit more research and found a few other phrases and words that I thought would be good to add. Los Angeles has an excellent one, so I wrote that down. I'll just pass this out. I just thought everyone can have something.
I'm going to back everybody up a minute because our new Commissioner Lyle just appeared, and I'm so sorry that I didn't acknowledge you right away.
I apologize for being late.
I'm Chair Renee Marmion.
Bonnie Bolagoff.
Madison Davis.
Jamie Dunn.
Karen, hi.
And welcome,
Thank you very much.
welcome, welcome. It's nice to have a male on the board here. Thank you. We hope you have lots of ideas.
Thank you for having me.
The type's too small. Let me go print it in a bigger type.
Okay.
You can just read it for now
Yeah.
when we get there.
Do you want this too, just so do you have one of those? Oh. Oh.
So previously, we had put together, and this is just very much of a draft, a sentence: enrich the lives of the residents of Brisbane by providing safe, welcoming parks, facilities, and recreation for all ages. And so I did a little bit of research and looked at other websites and other mission statements, and I found a few more words and phrases that I liked, and I added them on the bottom as a little list. I thought it might be, as a beginning part of that sentence, it'd be, I guess we would want to say Brisbane Parks and Recreation Department or commission or just department is dedicated to. And another, I found something about affordable and diverse recreation, which I liked. I liked the idea of affordable and diverse. And I also liked addressing the changing needs within the community. 'Cause that is something we do all the time.
I agree.
And that is, I think, one of our tasks. And I also like the idea of putting something in there about creating community, because that is also an important part of what we do. So I don't how to put that all into one. Sometimes a mission statement can be a short paragraph. Sometimes it's a sentence. Sometimes it's a bullet-pointed list after a sentence. So there are many different forms that it could be.
I kind of liked, after your first facilities and recreation, I liked programs and events for all ages, too.
Add programs and events, yeah. I like that idea.
Programs and
We do
events
do
for
that.
all ages. because we do that.
We do. And then I also added the Los Angeles one because I just thought it was well put together and seemed to encompass everything that we're interested in. So I'll just read it. Our mission is to enrich the lives of the residents of Los Angeles by providing safe, welcoming parks and recreation facilities and affordable, diverse recreation and human service activities for people of all ages, and I like this part particularly, to play, learn, contemplate, build community, and be good stewards of the environment. I think it's very alive and very immediate.
I like that.
I think what's important about this one is it says why. Like what the importance of that is. So why are we building recreation? Ultimately, it is to play, learn, contemplate. So I think in whatever we create, we should say how we're delivering that. So whether that be through welcoming parks, facilities, events, so on and so forth, and then why we're doing it. So the how and the why together in one statement.
I agree.
Through the chair,
Sure.
there was, this came up once before, and when we were looking at the pyramid, and I asked about health and safety. And we've got safety at the bottom, but we haven't put health in there. And enrichment and enjoyment, I'm seeing that this is coming up in what you've written. But I was concerned about us not having mentioned health, because that's really, that can be, in many of recreational activities, a really important component. And then I just looked at the mission statement that was here, and it was really interesting. It said, providing quality and joyful experiences that bring people together in a safe and supportive environment, all well and good. It didn't say recreational. And so it was sort of like, it could be for all sorts of things that you're doing. And I thought it really, we need to really focus on recreation. I like the Los Angeles one. I think that it hits a lot of really pertinent things.
So perhaps we can craft something similar to that.
Thank you. That was
Sure.
good.
Well, you want to write something, put it together now?
I'm kind of crafting something over here, trying to mush it all together.
Why don't we-
Any other commissioners? Lyle, Teresa, you're new. Do you have any ideas?
Not at the moment, but I'd love to work on putting something together.
Okay.
Good.
So
Fine.
in reading it, I guess, for me, I'm looking for the W's, again, why we do something, who we're doing it for, and what we're doing should come across in the mission statement. Some of the Y's are here, or the W's are here, but not all of them. And to Karen's point, there needs to be a little bit more about and what we need to be doing and who we're doing it for. So.
Would you, do all commissioners
looking
want
at
to put this together now, or do you want to
work on it and
bring it back to,
Yeah, we can do that. Maybe
Let's
we
do
come
that,
up with
because
some
this
different
will- okay.
versions and-
Because everyone's got different ideas.
Okay.
Maybe, we bring it back at the next meeting,
okay,
and everyone can kind of
I like that, and we can
bring that in.
okay.
maybe combine a few or
Like, I like the Los Angeles
yes. I do.
statement. I think that's nice, but we can enlarge that a little
Okay.
bit more.
Let me ask you, does everybody like this pyramid? Fun, quality, community, teamwork, safety?
I'd like to see health involved in that, and it could be health and safety.
That's true.
It's a pyramid, and that typically indicates a hierarchy. Is this pyramid in that order where fun is the most important thing and safety the least? Or, I mean, if I read it in a hierarchy or point of view, I want to rearrange some of the parameters there in hierarchy, because fun is important, but I don't know that it should be the number one thing.
I think
Yeah, I
the way-
see it reverse.
the way that we looked at it was safety is the bedrock of everything we do,
Okay.
and that's why it was on the bottom.
Found
And
it.
fun is what we're, quality and fun are the things that we're trying to achieve through the programming, which is why they're on the top.
Okay.
And we're doing it for the community, and we're doing it with teamwork within the department and with the commission.
Okay,
So that was why we ordered it the way we did.
foundational. Thank you for that clarification, yeah.
Under the Los Angeles definition, where it says for people of all ages and abilities, I'd like to see "and abilities" listed there, because that would cover all the ADA requirements that we're acknowledging that we're working, we're providing activities for all ages
And abilities to play?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Well, everybody get their notes together, and we'll bring it back next meeting. Thank you. Good input.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do we want to submit them beforehand to Trish so that she can have
Yes.
something to print out and everybody can take a look at everybody
That's
else's
a good idea.
and kind of rework
Yeah.
them?
It's a great
So
idea.
we come in
Great
with
idea.
something,
Mhm.
not have to go through everybody's one at a time?
Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be great.
So we'll submit in a few weeks to Trish.
Do you have a date? What's the date you want
It
to?
depends on when you decide your
Oh, the meeting.
commission meeting is going to be. So it should be before that date.
Okay.
And
Whatever
probably-
that date is.
Whatever that date is that we like to get the agenda out and the packet out to you by that Friday.
Yeah.
So if we get things by the Wednesday,
Before, okay,
before the Wednesday
Okay.
meeting.
Okay.
okay,
So we can hold off when that date will be based on
All right, thank you.
okay,
later in the
great,
meeting.
thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to new business. Ooh, the department's budget.
So what you have before you is the first rough cut at the budget based on what we have heard from the commission over the last few months. The first page of it is the combined budget, and it shows the actuals from 2010, 2011 through 2013, 2014. It shows the 2014, 2015 requested budget or approved budget, actually, and then the 2015, 2016 that would be requested. So the process for this is the city manager submits his budget to the council for their review and approval. The departments submit their budgets to the city manager, and we need to do that sometime in April. So if you don't get it all finished tonight, depending on when your meeting is in April, there is time to do it in the April meeting, if this is taking too long. And then each of the different divisions in the budget in the department have their own individual budgets. And that, starts with the admin budget. And the Excel spreadsheet page shows salaries, shows the benefits that we pay. It shows what it costs us for our liability and workers' comp insurance. And then it breaks it down into a number of different categories for the types of services and supplies that we buy. And then after that, you get the WordPerfect pages, or the WordPerfect, right, I'm dating myself, the Word pages. And then I will say the mission statement is back from when we started this probably 10, 15 years ago. And then it shows what the budgets were for each of the individual supplies and services, and it breaks it down for the different line items within there. We don't break out the expenses for those line items because trying to track something to that finite level of detail on an actual basis would be requiring us many more staff from a finance perspective. So we shows what the budgets were for the past years, and if you look at it, it shows the bottom line budgets for 13, 14, 14, 15, 15, 16, but we have on the front end, on the first page on the Excel spreadsheet, what the actuals were for the, from a historical perspective. And then it goes through all of this for each of the administrative budget. Then you flip through the administrative budget and you get to the Parks and Recreation, Parks and Facility Operations budget. And then it becomes a little bit different because the City Council asked us to start breaking out our costs not by type of supplies and services, but by facility and by program. So we started doing that in 13-14. So what you have is the actual, it shows salaries and benefits, and these are just the full-time salaries and benefits for this area. And then as you flip through to the Word document, it still shows the old line items, but then as you flip further back, you now have all of our facilities. And it shows you what we actually expended by facility in 13-14, shows you the revenues we took in by facility in 13-14, and then it shows you the budgeted numbers for 14-15, and then the proposed budget in 15-16. And it goes through that for every single division. So it might make most sense for us to start with the admin, work our way through as far as you would like tonight. If we can get all the way through, that would be wonderful for me, because it would help me get the budget put together sooner from a finance perspective. But as I said, if it doesn't happen tonight, as long as it's early enough in April, it's not going to be a problem in getting the budget together.
On the first page where it says 2013-14 approved.
Yeah, that should
budget.
be actual expended.
Okay, that's what I just,
It's a typo.
okay.
2013-14.
Through
Yeah.
the chair, I
Yeah.
would, excuse me,
Yes.
I wanted to ask one question. Where would the capital improvement list be?
Well, that would be a separate item from all of this. So what we have in the budget here is the items that the commission has said that they would like in the budget for this fiscal year.
So I looked for lights for the dog park, and I didn't see them. And I might have missed them when I went through it, but I went through a couple times, so I could have asked them twice.
I would have to try, I mean, it would take me a little bit of time to try and find them.
That's okay, I just wanted to mention that. And the also thing is that I think we're very dependent on Ted, and should he decide not to be doing that job any longer or something, we don't have any projected amount for the dog park, for maintenance of the dog park at all. So that's something that I'm,
And that would be something that the, that would be something that Public Works does, is they maintain all of our facilities
Okay.
from that.
all right, thank you.
On the first page, I'm just going to start at the first page, any questions I have. I'm just curious, what are professional services?
Those would be contracts that we would let, janitorial contracts.
Okay.
Our contract employees who do our programs. And if you look in the administrative budget, that would, for this one, it's our online registration fees.
I have a question. Under services and supplies on the first page, special department expense, under, for this year, it seems drastically different than all the other years and then the year following. So can you explain what this section is for, the $198,000?
The 198,000 was, I would have, I mean, I can go through and look at every page.
It's on the very first.
No, I understand, but the very first page is a combination of all the other pages. So as we go through the budget,
Okay.
that's
Okay,
just
okay.
the combined budget. So we
Okay,
can look
okay.
through each one and
Okay.
find it.
It just seemed to stand out
Yes,
to me.
that was probably a lot of the additional work that was being done.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions on page one?
No, that covers.
Okay, how about page two?
I have a question on page 2. So 50017 programs, so that's 56,400. So that was the funds that originally were directed toward Teen Center and then redirected. Is that right, Stuart? Or is this different?
Hold on.
You mean this one? Yeah, this one. I had that.
That is the, that is the cost of the teen dances, the field trip, the youth advisory committee, the teen programs at the library, the after-school activities, other teen activities.
Okay, and that
That's
includes,
specifically what that is.
that includes Lippman After School?
Yes.
And does that include, we also had a certain amount of those funds set aside for active recreation. Does it include that?
For
Is it
after
Things
recreation.
like that. Remember when we split off teen center, we closed the teen center and we split the funds between Lippman after-school program and a fund for active recreation, possibly for skate park or something like that. So I'm wondering where that is.
There is nothing specifically for that at this time. I mean, if you were to look at the total budget for the teens, for what we spent going back to 2010, 2011, we had spent about $88,000 to $90,000. We now have a budget of about $131,000 for this fiscal year. So, I mean, we don't have anything specifically set aside for that. If there's individual programs or ideas that we would like to put into it, we would add that to, we would put that as a recommendation to the city council for their decision.
So that's an addition of 50,000 over the 80 that had been for a while for Teen Center. But at that point, we also were covering, that included dances and such as well, right?
Right, but it didn't include the cost of the after-school program. I mean, it covered, back in 2010, 2011, it covered the cost of the teen center, plus the teen dances, plus the yak. And if we did, I mean, way years ago, did some other programs, like if we went out on a trip. But, as I said, in 2010, 2011, we spent $80 in 2010, 2011. In teen services, we spent $88,000. In 2011-12, we spent $93,000 about. In 2012-13, we spent about $90,000. And, I mean, that was the time that the teen center was open.
So there's an addition of 50,000 or so then that's gone up from that. So is that including some new activities?
Well, it's including the after-school program at Lippman.
It is, but that was, that funding replaced the teen center funding.
It also, it also includes the staff time for Steve, who spends, time putting together the teen programs for Lippman, working with the after-school sports programs and all that as well. So it's, a portion of that is for our salaries.
Okay.
I mean, when we get to the page, you'll see.
Yeah, that's
probably
farther down, yeah.
more
I found it
Okay.
in the back.
detail on it.
May I,
In the back.
there's one other question, and that is that when we call them teen services, and that's a pretty big chunk of money, and we're talking about kids that are at Lippman, or they're actually in junior high, but they're out of there at 14, and we have 15, 16, 17, and 18-year-olds. And I'm wondering how this money gets spread out to be used also for them.
At this time, there isn't any other specific programs for them, and that's what we're here to talk about.
Great.
If there is other programs you would like us to include, and see if we have the financial ability to include everything that the commission would like.
And that's probably going to stem from whatever happens with the yak. I mean, the kids are going to tell us what they think, they're going to have direct input, and we have specific, Karen and I have talked about specifically having one group that's the older teenage group, and then one group that's the younger teenage group, like the Lippman age, to really gather a sense of what each group, because obviously they have very different needs, even though they're only a few years apart, to really make sure that we are servicing that older teenage group, because previously it felt like, they haven't really had their needs met, especially in recreation. So I think we're definitely going to make sure, Karen and I are really dedicated to making sure there's something for them.
Thank you.
Anything else on page 2?
Nope.
Okay, let's move to page 3.
No.
Anybody?
No.
No?
Just one second, I wanted to look at it.
The only thing I had is just the salaries really jumped from 2014-15 to 2015-16.
Right, that's because we're adding a recreation manager next year
Okay.
that we discussed, that we talked about.
Okay.
Can I ask what that amount is?
Probably from a salary perspective, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 100,000,
Okay.
Well, I'm sorry?
probably about 100,000,
For an individual
yes.
to be a recreation manager?
Yes.
Will he be a manager, or she
don't
be a
know.
manager of the whole department?
Whoever we hire would be the manager of the department. They would report to me, and they would oversee all aspects of the department.
That's a high salary.
That's what the going rate
I see.
for that level within San Mateo County.
I see.
Is
We
that,
did the 9-county check and compared it.
Well, we compare ourselves to other cities within San Mateo County. If you were to compare ourselves to Alameda, where the housing prices are a lot cheaper, or we were to compare ourselves to Marin, where the services are done through recreation, not done through the city, but through other kinds of mechanisms, through JPAs, they could be different, but we're not we need to compete with our immediate surrounding area.
does that include the benefits then?
No, that's just a salary.
Just salary, okay.
I also was interested in the fact that we have depreciation, but we don't have depreciation on anything after 2013.
Right, because in 2013, it became part of the general fund.
I see.
And as part of the general fund, we don't depreciate any equipment or any buildings, only if it's a enterprise fund.
Okay.
Okay.
Would part-time salaries, would that be where we're getting
Yes.
paid? Okay.
Okay, any more on 3? No. Okay, 4, the only thing, take out the beaches, or not beaches anymore.
Yes.
But we might change that whole mission statement, so, but anything that has parks, beaches, and recreation,
Just take
just
beaches out.
Yep.
eliminate the beaches.
Yeah, we've taken it out, but we haven't
Yeah.
taken it out in the
Yeah,
options.
in the mission statement
I see
and
it.
program description.
Thank you.
Anybody else have questions on 4?
No, that was the only one I had.
No.
Okay, we'll move to 5. Pretty self-explanatory. Anybody have anything? No?
The online, explain to me about the online registration fees, so that's.
Right, this is how much we have to pay ActiveNet for them to process our credit cards.
Oh,
This is their the 3%, I think.
okay.
Okay.
So may I ask, so we're in the same position as a business?
Yes,
Where a credit card is used, we lose 3-4%, whichever?
yes.
I see.
Okay, 6. Anybody have anything?
Since these aren't numbered, let's.
I'm number them as I go
I
along.
should have done that. All right, this was 5. There we
Yeah,
go.
I'm just going along. I mean, nothing on 6,
No.
7, which is the Department Division 5002, Recreation Parks and Facility Operations.
No.
Again, I asked that professional services. It only went to 2013.
Right, because after 2013, everything became a facility expense.
Okay,
So what you have is a breakdown of every facility now.
okay.
So the
Right.
professional services would be included as part of that. I mean, the challenge that you have is either you're going to collect information in the computer system by facility or by account number. It is difficult to do both. And the city council in 2013 wanted to have our programs and our facilities broken out so they knew what a facility cost us. And because if you do it the other way, you can't tell exactly what Mission Blue cost because
Right.
it's broken out into a lot of different accounts.
Yeah.
So again, I'd like to ask about the dog park.
Yeah,
So-
let me add we'll add the lights. It may have been, it may either be here or it may have put it in the Public Works budget, and I'm not sure, so I'll add it here so I don't forget.
Okay, thanks.
I know we did.
Anything else on 7 from anybody?
No.
Okay, we'll move to 8. The one thing I have, this column, so they'll go right from 2013-14 on, these columns, on page 8,
2014 actually.
yeah. Because it wasn't at the top, I'm just assuming this is 2013-14, 2014-15.
Yes.
Okay. Littman Gym, 2542, just reported, and
Yeah, it's just.
what is that for?
I couldn't tell you exactly. I'd have to go back and look at to see exactly what it was. It could be opening and closing the gym. It could be the janitorial cost of the gym. I'd have to go look.
So dog park is listed here. Is that where we would input?
Well, actually, what I would do
Oh, yeah,
is
dog
put it,
is.
Because
I would do it as more of a one-time, like where it's at the bottom where you see FFYY, because I'm not quite sure what number it would have yet. I would just do FZZ, dog park lights, 10,000.
Okay, because that like kind of goes along with
Yeah,
the
but
other-
as I said, I'm not quite sure if it's here or if it's in Public Works.
but that's where it would go if we
Yeah.
need to put it in somewhere.
Yes.
Potentially.
Excuse me.
Oh,
So if there has to be any other work done to the dog park, because the yard is pretty chewed up right now and
Right.
getting a hold again, that's just part of.
Public
maintenance
Works.
Facility, okay, thank you.
Then the BES restroom, there's 3. Is that just for the cleaning facilities, or
It's
was that the,
It's for cleaning and it's for lights, for the utilities, water, sewer, or the electricity for it. I mean, it's the cost of, it's hard for me to say.
the restroom that's on the field, you mean?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted, okay.
Okay,
So I think what's important here on this page is that some of what we were talking about wanting to see are mentioned, are actually here. So sideboard,
Yeah.
Mission Blue Field, some field work, bathrooms at Littman. That's included.
Is $131 for the basketball courts, and that's it?
it's probably nets. Replacement of nets at that time.
Okay. So for future, are we budgeting for future?
You know, I'm not really concerned about $100.
Okay.
I mean, the overall city budget is 15 million. If it costs us, if we have to replace nets 4 or 5 times a year, that's not going to be a make or break item for
Don't you
us.
have to list that? Don't you have to list everything? This is like a checkbook.
It's not a line item budget, you
Oh
don't
my God, Renee.
put down a broom, you don't have to take a broom.
No, I just, there's some people that want to know where every $100 goes.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, we're done with that page?
I was going to mention Firth Park.
Okay.
It's never looked better. They do it every week. They cut the grass, they trim. It looks
Good.
terrific,
Good.
where it was kind of neglected before.
Yeah. Excellent.
I've always wanted to see bocce ball courts there for somebody to be using it on a regular
They
basis.
use it quite often,
Do they?
surprisingly,
Well, I'm
yes.
happy to hear that.
And what are they using it for?
Parties, or sometimes they barbecue, or I see kids playing ball with their dads over there.
Good, good.
So it's used a lot,
Oh, I'm glad.
more than people think. A lot of times, when the weather's good, probably from Crocker, they come and have lunch there.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Okay, good. I'm
I
glad
used to
hear
have
that.
birthday parties there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
good spot for that.
Okay,
Right.
page 9, so we're still, now
So,
it's the
yeah.
word, correct?
Right, so if you go into, I mean, as you go through this, only going through 12, 13, those were budgets, so we no longer budget in this fashion. As you flip through, you'll get back to the budgets for the facilities, which will just be basically a repeat of what you just
Right,
saw,
Right. Okay.
right.
except it will also have the projected revenues and the actual revenues for 13, 14. And that's why everything is in landscape, because when I start trying to do 13, 14 actuals and revenues and expenditures, and then as we get to the programs, the number of people who participated, it would not fit on a portrait
Right.
look. Unless we all had really good eyes.
Can we mention on this page, we have up to 12, we still don't have the dog park mentioned as one of our facilities? Can we
Okay.
Put it on there, please.
We can take teen center off.
Yeah, take
Yeah, I
the teen
wondered
center
about that. I
out.
wondered
Yeah,
if you wanted
take,
to leave it on or take it off.
no, take that off and just replace it with the dog park.
Okay.
Number 8. Anything else?
No?
Okay. Page 10, does anybody have anything?
You were smart, you numbered.
I'm just numbering while we're going. Okay, number 11. Does anybody have any questions?
I do.
Okay.
So, remember how we were talking about that 52241 special department expense? So I see here we have equipment rental on this page, and then we have small tools and supplies,
Uh-huh.
but I'm missing,
So that would mean that there was nothing in the budget for that year. So if you go back to the Excel spreadsheet for this, there is no expenses.
right,
There was
okay,
no
so
budget for it.
so later on, we'll find out what that.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
And you're-
This is confusing me, so I'm just trying to make sure.
No, I understand. This is the first time you've seen this.
Yeah, well,
while,
like this
so-
in-depth of a
Right.
budget, so I just want to make sure I
Nope,
got
that's
everything
fine.
right.
Refresh my memory, what was Here Comes the Guide?
So that is what we work with Mission Blue. Us and Black Tie Affair every other year
yeah.
purchase advertising in it.
Okay,
So
that's right.
we still do
Yeah.
that. That's just part of Mission Blue's budget now.
Right.
So that's,
Oh, that's why I said, refresh my memory. Okay. 12. Okay, 13. Okay, 14.
That's where I also mentioned the lights, because
Yeah.
I didn't see them, so I brought it up
Yeah,
on that page.
14, that's there.
so
Yeah.
what do you have as page 14? What's your?
It has the programs, it starts with Mission
Okay.
Blue,
So the
FO1.
reason that Mission Blue is going up to 83,000 is what we're going to be asking for, is we are looking to purchase new chairs and tables at Mission Blue for this year. So that's what that increase is.
Okay.
We are also looking to purchase new chairs at the community center.
So when we do that, do we take those that we do have and put them up for sale? Or,
We could, I mean, what we will do is we would follow the city's policy of surplusing equipment. So we could either put it up for sale, we can, if there is a nonprofit that needs chairs and tables, we can donate it. So we would have to follow the city's procedures for surplusing.
so we have a projected revenue of 80,000?
That's what we're hoping. Remember, so this is one of those ones where in 13, 14, we raised the rates.
Yes.
And what we found was that there were less people using Mission Blue. Well, the economy's gotten better, and the use of Mission Blue has gotten better. So I'm being optimistic as to what I think we might be able to get in there.
Great.
We're getting a lot more rentals at Mission Blue than we used to.
Can I ask a question about the tables?
Sure.
I've noticed when I've been up there, I work with BDW on the fair during the holiday season. And that's the time of year when there's rain. And I notice that the chairs and the tables are often stored outside, and they get wet and they get soggy. And, and perhaps that's a reason for new tables. But if you're spending this much on new tables, what care is there going to be to make sure that we don't have a bunch of warped, ruined, water-damaged tables?
Originally, those tables were bought, and they're made of press wood. Most tables that you buy now are plastic. We do have a storage issue at Mission Blue. We have a large tiered seating system that pretty much took up all the storage. So we are sort of moving stuff hither and yon. The tables that you see that we're using, yes, those have been damaged. The new tables will be made of plastic and will be much more resilient to that kind of treatment and easier to move.
Okay.
Is there not some way of having a storage facility on site that we can store these things?
As I recall, that was talked about in the past because it would change the landscape of the building itself, bring in like a Mighty Light shed, which we use at the school.
I see.
Nice units, aesthetically not so nice. We've sort of shied away from that, something we'd be happy to visit and talk about again if that becomes an issue. But again, I think the table issue will sort of evaporate when we buy new tables that will be made of plastic.
What will the chairs look like? Will they still be the upholstered?
I don't know.
Don't know yet? Okay.
Don't know. Those chairs originally were, IKEA chairs, they're very inexpensive, which was nice. The problem with them is they don't stack very well. They're just not made for large facility use. Large facility chairs tend to run between really sturdy and kind of ugly, or real nice and kind of expensive. So we'll probably come back to you, or maybe even form a subcommittee and get together and look at them. I have to be honest with you, I do not want to be the keeper of good taste at Mission Blue. So somebody will have to give us some direction.
Will you store those outside then?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right, then I have one question. It says teen center here, 1,800. I know you probably already said.
Right, so we still have to have an alarm system, so people don't break in.
Oh, okay. At the building.
I haven't been in there, and I remember when you did go and you
yeah.
made the decision you made. And I just wonder, is there nothing that can be done with that building other than to demolish it?
That's a city council decision.
Yeah.
If you have a recommendation, you can make a recommendation to council, but that's a council decision. as to what
I'm
will
just
happen.
asking about the quality of the structure.
The quality of the structure is not quite beyond repair, but it's getting close.
It's a fixer-upper.
It's a fixer-upper. I mean, the roof, there's
Yeah.
portions of the roof that leaks, so therefore we're uncomfortable having anybody be in there. So if we were to really try and fix it, it would probably be $50,000 to $100,000 to remove the mold, remove whatever possible mold is in there, to
mold.
fix the walls that have, water damage,
No.
to fix the roof. So, I mean, that's the challenge that we have. It's,
I was thinking, it'd be a great community effort if everybody got involved in trying to do what we could to fix up the building. But once you have mold, that requires professional
and as, like, I know the wood is wet. I'm not quite sure how wet. I haven't been in.
Yeah.
Mildew, not mold, mildew.
Yeah. Okay, nothing else on 14. We'll move to 15. Anybody?
And if you would do,
And I've added the dog park lights, so we don't forget.
if you would do me a favor and just announce the title of the
Oh,
page
yeah, I
as
will.
well.
Yeah. So you're putting dog park lights on this?
Yeah, I'll put it here, so that way I make sure I don't forget it.
Okay.
I think I saw the Quarry Road lights on the list, so I think they're already on there.
Okay.
Okay. Where did you see those?
I did see them somewhere.
Because I'll bet you
Yeah,
they're
they might be.
combined.
I saw walkway maintenance.
Yeah, walkway maintenance is slightly different. Walkway maintenance
been
is what
on
you
the
talked
trails.
about last time, where you would try and set aside money to start some of the improvements. I will say, I just saw Public Works' budget. They also have $10,000 for weeding and maintenance of walkways. So this would be more for some of the minor improvements that we can make along the way.
We're talking about trails such as bicentennial and
Yeah.
Yes,
lights, fixing lights.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
No, excuse me, the roadway on Quarry Road.
Right, the Quarry Road roadway, we talked about putting lights on that so people could see.
Well, not only the lights, but the roadway itself has got some very large fissures in it.
Okay?
Very, very large.
I'll let Public Works know and see what they can do.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're on 16, which is the Department Division 5003, Recreation Youth Activities. Oh, I have one. Contributions.
Right?
What was all that?
Those would be the contribution to BES, and at this point in time, it's the high school bus.
Oh, okay.
It used to be, we used to contribute money to the Jefferson Union High School,
Right.
which did a number of different programs, but when they decided they could no longer afford to have their children actually show up to school, and I know that was probably mean of me to say it that way.
Yeah.
But when they made the decision that they could no longer afford busing children from Brisbane, the city council said, that's our highest priority, is to get our kids to Brisbane, so we would no longer be able to afford giving them money for the calculus program or for some other programs. For BES, there's the JPA that we have, where there's a contribution that we make to BES for the use of their facilities.
So we aren't doing anything for
But
14?
once again, you have to go look at the individual programs, because we're
Okay,
no longer
okay.
budgeting by account number, we're budgeting by
Okay,
program.
okay. I get it, okay.
And if you flip the page, you
Yes.
would in fact see.
Okay, 17, page 17.
Yes, the budget has gotten more confusing doing it this way.
So I looked at this, and I was looking at 87,791, and the bus, just the bus, is a quarter of that entire budget.
Yes.
That's an incredible. Is there a donation by families?
Families
Yes.
pay a portion. We get about 16,000 back. However, if you are a reduced or free lunch student, you pay a reduced or free amount. So we don't, it's not a very, we don't ask everybody to pay the full cost because it
They
would be.
can't.
Yes. And city council feels it's an important aspect that our teens get to the school where they need to get to.
Precisely.
Yes, I wish,
The one thing that we need to do is help them get their education.
yes, I wish the school district felt the same way. But they only want the kids once they're on their campus.
Okay,
So I have a question, Stuart. So on that page, there are some programs that no longer have a budget for 15, 16. Does that mean the program's going away?
Yes, so something like Motion Soccer, which no longer has a budget, that is no longer going to be run through the city. Ken Walker will still be doing it. That one is CO2, but he is going to be doing it on his own. He was the one who we contracted with to run Motion Soccer, but he decided that he wanted to take that on his own. The Caparero class, CO3, we're no longer doing because the person who is offering it no longer is offering it. There is not enough interest. So that's what, a lot of times happens is classes fall off because there isn't interest. And then the other challenge is during the year, you will see that, there may have been some money in something at one point in the year that we weren't budgeting for because it was a class that was good that year and not in the future. There's, just trying to work with the people who come forward and ask to put on classes, we do that. And then if there's things that the commission or the public asks us to go seek throughout the middle of the year, throughout the year, we try and do that as well. So we don't always budget for every class that we have either.
So that was something that I looked at, is that we are budgeting for all the classes that people have come forward they want to provide. So we're budgeting for them, but in terms of our department determining, a comprehensive program, filling the gaps, so to speak, for other programs, we're not budgeting for anything else other than these specific things that people have come forward for. So if something new comes along, or we can come up with a good program for a group that we've gapped out in some way that their needs aren't being met, we don't have any money for that.
Or just go back to the city council and say, here's a new program, depending on what the cost of that program is, if it's a large enough change, we'd go to the council and say, here's a recommendation for a new program that we would do. An example is, we budget every year $500 for the fire hydrants. Madison told me that the cost to put on the show this year is $2,000. That's really not enough to go back to the city council with at this point, because we'll find savings throughout the budget. And so we'll just cover that cost from other areas in the budget.
and the after-school program on this page, it's both, it's at BES and
Now,
at
this is just for youth. So
Oh, just youth.
the teens are is in the
Okay.
Right.
Lippman. So this
You're
is
right.
just what
Yeah.
it costs us to put on our after-school program
Right.
at BES.
Okay.
So the dances are really Lippman dances, right?
Now, those are actually put on by the city,
Yes?
so that would be in the teens.
So if you had an 18-year-old or 17-year-old come, they wouldn't.
They would not be allowed.
No.
They would not be allowed. So that's the group I
understand.
16, 17, 18-year-olds I'm worried about.
Don't worry, we got them.
That-
We're gonna do something.
I'm so glad.
We will, promise.
Okay, so any more on 17?
No.
Okay, let's move to 18, and it's the youth activities, and it's the word, so just what we just went through, it's just written out.
Just so, just for time purposes, is there a deadline when people are trying to get home tonight? Because there are 2 items on this agenda that I do need
Okay,
to, so I don't want to rush anybody, but if people are saying, we're going to go home at 8:30,
okay.
or
Well, I
9
just
o'clock,
wanted
or
to get to
9:30.
at least to page 20.
That's fine, but I just wanted to let you know that
Nice number.
I need to have people, we need to have something on B,
Right.
and C would be good.
We
And then
need E.
Do, Renee, do you want
And
to
E.
go to those and?
But E should be
this?
quick.
And go as far as we can in this?
But I don't want to put any pressure on, but if there was a time limit, I wanted to be aware of it so I can just let you know where we are.
Okay.
Well, ultimately, if we're on page 18, and we're probably a fifth through it, I'm asking the chair if she wanted to go through these other things that need to be addressed, and then come back and go as far as we can on the budget.
Oh, that's kind of smart. I like that idea.
It's up to you.
The commission, what do you
Leave
want to do?
this and do the,
Yeah,
then
and then come back to this?
Because this is going to, this could, we don't know at what point this might take us down for a long, long road, whereas these other things need to be done.
Take care of what, matters most first.
Well, let's just finish this youth activities and then we'll stop.
Yeah.
Okay? And then we'll move on.
Okay.
So page 18, does anybody have anything? Okay, page 19. It's just the same.
Right. I mean, you've probably, what the difference is, what you're now looking at is in 13, 14, you're seeing the actuals with the number of users, and then 14, 15, and 15, 16, the projected number of users. And that's an interesting conversation as to how you count users for programs that happen every day.
You know, I'd like to ask on, oh, I'm sorry, I've gone to 20 already.
No, go ask.
I would like to ask, we call this the Brisbane Homework Center. Can we call it the?
Nope.
I beg your pardon?
It's labeled by the school. The school district calls it the Brisbane Homework Center. So that's what we're contributing to, is it's their program, they put it on,
I
it's
see.
their after-school homework center for the kids in elementary school.
We don't provide any services in that?
No.
Okay, because I was going to say, can't we say homework and recreation because we
No.
provide both or something?
No, we provide the after-school program
All right.
in the, for recreation, and the school district provides at BES a additional homework center for those kids who need additional homework, help with their homework,
Okay.
or who parents would like them to participate in. And probably Karen and Renee know more about it than I do. So I apologize, Jamie, but no, that's just something, that's their name, and
I get it. Okay. I get it, just.
Okay, so that's page 20. And then that finishes youth activities. So we'll pick up again on adult activities.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
I apologize for cutting you off. I mean,
No, you know. But thank you for making me aware of that. Okay, so we're going to move on to recommendation for temporary implementation, did I say that right? Guidelines for the city's public arts ordinance.
it's attached.
Yes.
Yes, so the Public Art Subcommittee met a couple of weeks ago, and the challenge that is the Public Art Subcommittee came back to you and came forward with a proposal for how we would develop those implementation guidelines for the public art ordinance. For the new members, the public art ordinance is a way of funding public art through new construction. There is an ordinance that was passed, and I probably have it in my staff report, October 2nd of 2014, the City Council passed an ordinance. It did not pass any way of how we were going to implement that ordinance, and asked the Commission to look at it. The anticipation is it will probably take 12 to 18 months to develop those implementation guidelines. The subcommittee recommended to the Commission and talked to the Commission briefly about having it be done through a very big, broad community process. So the idea, the hope was that, if there's nothing got built between now and then, you'd have implementation guidelines before anything got built in town. However, 5,000, 7,000 Marina Boulevard got bought and is being renovated, and that will trigger the public art ordinance in some fashion. Either they will do something on site, or they will do an in lieu of fee. So if they were to do something on site, there is no mechanism for the city to review that at this point. So the Public Art Subcommittee decided that they would put together a process, an ad hoc process for it until the full implementation guidelines are approved, and what their perspective, what their recommendation is that they would like to take to the City Council through the Commission is to have the members of the Public Art Subcommittee work with members of the City Council Art Subcommittee, along with one or two members of the public who are interested in public art, as well as the developer, to determine what would be an appropriate public art piece for that site or any site that triggers this. And then whatever was approved through that process would then be approved by the City Council as a whole. Hopefully I summarized that well for Karen and Bonnie.
Yes, you did. Excellent job.
Very good.
And the goal is to bring this to the next City Council meeting on April 2nd for them to approve it.
Great. Okay. So
That's why I wanted to make sure we got to this one.
yes, so we need to make an emotion. A motion. Do I have anyone that would like to make the motion?
That we accept this?
To send to
To send to
City
the
Council for,
Yes,
That motion?
we send it to the council.
That we send it to
as-
this council.
okay, for the guidelines of the city public art ordinance.
Bonnie, are you making the motion?
Yes, uh-huh.
All right, I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So concerts in the park schedule.
I took notes.
Bonnie?
We're going to start July 3rd and go through August 2nd. We have 3 Brisbane groups that are going to play, and we're still looking at the other groups. We haven't reviewed too many other groups yet, so we'll probably meet again. We're talking about a sponsor night.
Ooh.
We used to do that before.
Can you describe that?
It would be like wine and cheese, and just the sponsors would be invited to this one area during a concert.
Like a VIP area?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yes, that's what we did before, and it was very successful.
Nice
to be able to
meeting.
thank them all.
That is such a good idea.
Yeah.
We used
Love
to do
it.
that, and then we just stopped. But I think it's a
Well,
good
that's
idea to
sure.
start it again, to thank the sponsors, because there's big sponsors and little sponsors.
That is fantastic. Yes, yes, yes. That's a great.
So I think that's it, James.
Along those lines, I thought that was a great idea because that was along the lines of making sure that the donors are recognized. And as you know, a couple of years ago, we gave out posters that said, "I am a sponsor of," and we saw them all over town. And then the next year, we went back to concerts in the park, and on the bottom of sponsors, and the people are listed, and it wasn't as prominent. We're going back to, I am a sponsor of concerts in the park. We also talked about the fee that people, well, the donation that people make, and that people can make just about any donation they want, and they become a sponsor. And so there was a thought that, increasing the donor amounts for certain levels of donorship, for example, a certain amount would get you on the banner. Another amount, is that might be $100, and that will be reviewed, Bonnie and I will be talking about it. And then another amount, of course, that all the amounts will get you into the VIP section, which is, we thought, the second concert.
Yes,
We would do
second
that.
concert.
And then then we would do Steve had a great idea about T-shirts.
Yeah.
For
T-shirts
the sponsors.
Yes.
for the sponsors that I am proud sponsor of, and he thought that he could put that together, fairly.
Make sure you spell their names right.
Yes.
Whoever is in charge of that. Just saying.
And
Are you nominating yourself as a?
I could spell check if you want me to.
Okay.
I understood that was not our fault, though. That was the other, but I'm just check and check and check again.
so the other thing was that something came up about how can we extend the season, because we went back and forth with people that wanted it in August, mostly in August. Then we went back, mostly in July. So what we're trying to do is maybe to extend it a little bit more
If we get enough money.
if we get enough money. And so maybe by doing, we thought about really advertising the sponsorship in a really creative way, and getting on social media, so that just the same folks who always advertise, we appreciate them, and we send letters out to them, as I understand, but making it known to the general public that, you know, this level of sponsorship gets your name up on the banner, this level gets you a T-shirt, and there will be a special donors section, VIP section, and we thought we might come up with more money that way, and then we could extend the number of concerts we have so that when we get those really lovely August nights, we don't have people kind of wandering around like they did last year, you know, why are they over now, you know, so forth. Anyway, that's what we've been discussing. Can you think of anything else, Bonnie?
No, you covered it. I
That
think
it?
we covered it pretty well.
So how many concerts do you have now?
We have 6, we're hoping to go to 8, if we get enough money.
But you only have 3 bands so far?
There
that
are 3
right?
local bands.
3 local bands.
3 local
And what are and you got,
What are the names?
no, so you have 3 local?
We didn't,
And
we
then do you
haven't
have
booked
3?
the others yet.
Oh, okay. Have you guys gone out to
But
see
we are-
any live music?
I think we will,
Yeah.
but we're looking
Yeah.
for, and if anybody knows one that's a good one, we're looking for a 50s band. We're looking for kind of music that people will not only dance to, but will sing to, and they know. A lot of folks in town have some affinity for the oldies but goodies. And the oldies but goodies aren't the 70s music in many cases. So we're actually looking for a 50s, 60s band, and I suppose we'll be
Mitch Woods and the Rocket 88s. We used to have them a long time ago, but I
Oh.
know he's very expensive.
That's the only thing, the cost of some of them.
Well, there may be somebody out there who's pretty good, just sort of getting on their feet, wanting a venue, and we could try them. So anyway, that's what we're up to.
Quick question on this. Who's your staff person, Russ?
Steve was.
Steve, okay. Oh, that's right, Steve. So Steve, what are some ideas for advertising as far as, I've been seeing a little bit more information on donors, which is great. If there's going to be more information about different tiers or trying to get a couple extra weeks, is that going out in the Star? What's the plan for getting the communication out?
Oh, yeah, all the usual sources, the Star, the newsletter, our website. We're now just getting into the 21st century with social media here in Brisbane. So we'll be doing that. We've got to use the resources in town, the mob list, the other Brisbane Facebook page that's not us, that's more popular. So
Suggestion, Vanessa down at 7 Mile House that has a lot of bands, and she would like to be invited to come to one of your subcommittees. So I don't know if you guys can extend her.
We'll just
You know,
advise her.
yeah,
How about
because
that, Trish?
she-
That way you
yeah.
can,
She keeps talking. She's been talking about it for like a
Yeah.
year. So I know, and she would probably know like
Let's
lots
do
of
that.
big
She
bands.
does have a lot of connections of bands, and she could help out. And I talked to her about a month ago, and she wanted to know when the next meeting was,
Well,
subcommittee meeting.
We should be having
So
another one, and I imagine
Yeah.
that we'll be
it'd
listening to.
be nice to invite her.
All right.
She probably knows a 50s band.
Yeah, she probably does.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on. Review of commission subcommittee assignments.
Right, so this was on the agenda because you have 2 new commissioners, so therefore you can go from 2 to 3. So this is your time if you want to volunteer to be on another committee, or if you want to get off of the committee, this is a great
Okay.
time to...
I'm going to first ask the 2 commissioners, new commissioners, is there any,
What we probably should do is just run through, for the new commissioner's sake, what the different committees are all about. That's just my
okay.
thought, I'm sorry.
But no, I just,
Yeah.
because some of them you can kind of see, is there anything that pops out at you? And if you have any questions, you might want to ask what they are.
So, and first for the new commissioners, we try and do a lot of the legwork and the thinking and vetting of ideas in the committee. So we try, if the topic is going to be happening in the next couple of weeks or the next month or so, we try and have like a committee meeting or two, and we work it around the commissioners' schedules. So, it's not as if we're, they're all during the day. If they need to be in the evening, they're in the evening. So, so that's just part of it as well.
And you could see what we just did. They just had concerts in the park, and they met in a subcommittee, and then they came back and reported to us. And that's what we have, these subcommittees.
Right. And very much like the public art. I think the public art subcommittee probably took about an hour to vet through the idea of how to
Yes.
do the implementation guidelines.
Right.
So that perspective, it saves a lot of time when it comes to the full commission.
So I'll start with you, Lyle. Is there anything on there that pops you out that you have a passion for that you would like to be on?
There are three that I see that I'd like to be on.
Okay.
One is the marina, recreational facilities, and the public art.
Okay.
Okay. What's his name?
Now, just as long as Teresa doesn't want the same three, I'd be happy. I want those.
So you said public art, marina,
And recreation facilities?
okay, okay. Teresa?
I'd be interested in concerts in the park, day in the park, events, public art, teen services.
So everything.
I mean.
What aren't you interested
I
in?
have to do all of those, but, if there's a need.
Well, okay, so I got concerts in the park, I got events.
Day in the park.
Day in the park. I heard public art.
Public art, teen services.
Well, we already have 3 on public art.
Okay.
Well,
Well, I don't know.
Because
One of the two people doesn't want to be on it, or if you guys want to flip a
Right.
coin.
I do, but I there's more I can do as well. So I'm not opposed to relinquishing it.
we can only have 3.
Right, but,
I know, but
We'll flip a coin for it.
we're going to see what they,
Right.
What do you want, Teresa?
So, okay, so I have, Teresa, I heard concerts in the park, I heard day in the park, I heard events, I heard public art, I heard teen services.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just a background on what events is, because so a lot of these are like events in themselves, right? Like Festival of Lights or Day in the Park. But this events subcommittee was developed out of the need to plan the fire hydrant day, and so that's like an event that's doesn't
event.
fall into one where it's like takes all your planning. So events are kind of like those one-off things that arise throughout the year, just so everyone to refresh about what that event's.
And there is a
about.
new subcommittee on the list. The use of the 280 South Hill sale proceeds. So 280 South Hill, we sold a piece of property to 280 South Hill. I think the number was about $300,000, and the city council asked Open Space and Ecology to put a representative and Parks and Recreation Commission to have a representative so they can talk about how to use, what would be a good use of those funds. So that's a new subcommittee that no one on the commission has seen before, because that was just a brand-new thing. And I was waiting until we had a full commission to ask for a volunteer.
I'd like to do that.
I think that's
And who else?
good on that.
So Renee, Jamie, and
Renee, Jamie?
Madison?
Not me.
Oh, I thought I heard.
I just said I think Renee would be good on.
Okay, I don't know if we have 1 or 2 slots on it.
So, please tell me where this property is again?
280 South Hill?
280 South Hill.
So it's up in the industrial park.
I'll be on that one,
It
too.
was
And Bonnie.
it was the little piece of, it's like a pie shape by the bakery.
Right.
It's by Shenke.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite sure how many people
Yeah.
the council had asked for. I don't know if they asked for 1, 2, or 3. So I will find that out.
Okay.
But I know there are 3, and if I find out that we can't have 3, I will send an email.
Okay.
You know that, and we'll figure out a way to
Okay.
Sure.
draw lots or something.
Okay.
we didn't ask if anybody is wanting to
Switch.
or move around, and I have a question in that area, in that direction, for Stuart. Teen Services, is that focusing now only exclusively on YAC? Because I ask that because that was a possible conflict of interest for me. So-
Yeah, no, I think it would still include what we're doing with Littman.
Rats. I wanted to work on the ultimate.
Oh no!
Okay.
So you're
Maybe we
removed.
can break it off.
I mean, you could do one for YAC and one
Break it off.
for other teen services.
Let's do that. We want to still work together on that.
She can-
Well, we're kind of facilitating teen services through how would you separate the two? Because if you're having the yak and we have our teens recommending to us, we want this certain recreation program, we want this certain event, then how would we separate?
If it's something that, the challenge is if it's something that would deal with us working together with the Brisbane Elementary School District, then there is a potential conflict of interest
Right.
for Karen.
But not if we were developing our own, like developing a class, or
No,
if we were holding an event in the gym, would that be a conflict?
Possibly.
Okay.
I mean, because, if the challenge would be, is if we're doing something with the school district, Karen has the ability to vote on behalf of the school district.
Right, yeah, I get what the
Yeah.
conflict of interest is. I'm just understanding what
And that-
decisions would
Right.
consist of.
And the idea would, I think what the city attorney advised Karen was if she had a specific question to ask the city attorney and maybe even the county council, because there's a conflict within the city, but she also has a different conflict within the school district. But I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly. I mean, I'm going to give you a very, very broad answer at this point to have Karen avoid that conflict. But if there's a specific question, she could ask either the city attorney or the county council.
Okay.
Anybody else interested in? So you're staying,
Well,
wait, are you staying on teen services? Or,
I don't believe that I can.
okay.
do
So she's out. So does anybody else want to go on teen services? I cannot go. I have to be removed off that too.
I'd like to be on teen services.
Yes.
Yeah, we got you. We got
And
you down.
There is up to another person who's allowed to be on it. Doesn't mean you need to have three.
No.
2 is fine.
2 is fine.
I'm interested, but you know my focus for the age group that I'm, and if you think that's useful to that committee, then I would be interested.
Well, I think you'd have to be focused on all teen.
Of course I would.
Yeah.
But you know that I would bring that with me.
Well, that's definitely that's the biggest need. That's the most underserved part
It's already.
of that. We're looking at people ages 13 to 18 right now. We probably have something like, we have things in place for probably 13 to 15, but beyond that, it's
Definitely.
very lacking. So as a whole, we're focusing on all those age groups, but definitely we need to concentrate, energy into the older teenagers
I
too.
would like to do that then.
Okay. Cool.
Yes, anybody else want to move around?
Around, anything else?
No, because a couple of things, one of the things I do here is just kind of go.
Okay, well, we'll just go. Brisbane Derby. Anybody else want to do the Brisbane Derby?
You're so good at it.
I feel like maybe I shouldn't be on it because I had a really hard time meeting with everyone this year. Like, I don't feel like I was really able to even go to any of the meetings because so many of them required us meeting with members of the community, and I have a very hectic schedule. So, I was there for the day and I did the announcing and I was there to coordinate the event and get everyone there. But in terms of the planning, it was very hard for me to be a part of that process considering all the players in that game. So, I felt like a lot of it fell onto you, and I felt like I was holding back the process because they were trying to fit with my schedule. So it could be beneficial for somebody else to be on that.
How about the 2 new commissioners? Are they interested in it? Derby? Derby? No?
My concern would be, since her concern was about the hectic schedule, I too have the same, so I would probably have the same conflicts and problems.
A committee of 1.
That's all right.
It'll make it a lot easier
It runs
to
pretty
decide.
smooth, doesn't it?
Yeah, they really
We've
do.
been doing it for so many years. We kind
They
of.
really know what they're doing. I could be on it, and we can try and make it happen with my schedule. If it does, fantastic. I'll try and be there to run that day of and do what I did. But I'm just saying,
We'll just keep you on it. and,
keep me on it.
Maybe we could just do a conference call when we meet.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, just keep you on it. Okay, anybody else in concerts in the park?
So I have Bolagoff, Don, and Teresa, because I don't go.
Right, right, okay.
Jimenez.
Yes. I know, I always mess her last name up
Jimenez.
all the
It's-
time.
it's an easy one.
I've done it for 20 years.
But I just wrote down
I
Teresa and
have.
everything. I didn't write down
Terrible.
Jimenez.
I'm terrible. Okay, yes, and then Day in the Park,
Bolagoff, Marion, and Jimenez.
yes. And then the special events, Don Davis and
Jimenez.
Dunn Davis.
And Jimenez?
Uh-huh.
And then Festival of Lights.
Bolagoff and Davis.
Yep.
Nobody else? Fundraising.
Dunn
Dunn and Davis. The dream team. We gonna like end up on every subcommittee together. We really
Double-
do.
And we do dream big.
We do.
But this is something that fundraising is, this particular, what we're focusing on is a big event, something that will not be just little nickel and diming, bake sale thing here, and the next week something else, but bringing together a big event that will fill our coffers. So we want to get ready for the time that, one of which we've had, a year of a recession where we were then having trouble, paying fees for things that we needed. So we'd like to get one big activity under our belts, and we're looking at that now. It would be great, I think, Madison, to have someone else on that.
Yes, 100%. We're talking like a big chili cook-off at the marina, or like somewhere we're trying to get tons of people in, and
Teresa. Is there anyone else?
Lyle.
Now that you're here.
No.
Okay.
Teresa. Does it interest you?
Possibly. I mean, I want to see what else there is.
All right.
Okay.
I just don't know. I mean, fundraising, I've done that for other things,
Oh,
and it
takes
takes
a
a lot
break.
of time.
yeah.
I'm still on BDW. We do a lot of
Yes.
fundraising
Yeah.
there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So can I just ask a question real quick? I'm on 6 subcommittees. How many is everyone else on? So we can kind of see like what of the, how many we should kind of be looking at joining.
8. I'm on 8.
5.
I'm on 8.
So you're on 8, you're on 5. How many are you on, Jamie?
As of tonight, 7.
7. So yeah, so the more people, I mean, we have 2 right now on a lot of them, so the more people, just because there's 2 people on it, doesn't mean we won't benefit from having more than that. So if no one's interested in fundraising, fine, Jamie and I can do it, that's okay. But like in some of these other ones, it definitely helps to have other people on. So if you're interested.
Okay. Habitat Restoration Day. Anybody else? Okay. Marina, we have 3. Okay. Public Art, we have
3.
3 or 4.
We have 4 people who are interested.
4.
Can't have 4.
Well, can we have 4?
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry, we can't have 4?
No.
I
And
see.
it's no longer a subcommittee at that point.
Yeah.
I
It's a
Holocaust
quorum.
lights and
I
Lyle.
see.
So I will let Teresa have public art. I've got some other choices down the line.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay.
Okay. Recreation programs.
Me,
Okay.
Lyle.
Okay. Recreational facilities, you're on that one too. Okay, it's Dunn, Marion, and Lyle, what's your last name?
Covino,
Covino. Oh, God, I'm gonna have Covino. Oh,
it means with wine. Easy to remember.
Covino. Are you
Not the
Italian?
means
Are you
please.
Italian?
See?
Oh, I like you. Okay. Seniors. I should probably be on that one.
You want to be on?
Okay, I'll go on that one.
I'm a senior.
Yep, I'm gonna be there.
Good.
Okay. Skate park.
I will be on that one as well.
Okay, great. Sustainability.
You're
Now,
by your
this
lunch?
is a joint
Yeah.
one that
Yeah.
we only have one appointment to. Only one.
But we had an alternate. But,
Somebody could be an alternate, but I also think, aren't you pretty close to being done?
yeah, but you know what? I missed that last meeting at the last
I think they
minute.
finished it the last now.
Yeah. Oh, good.
No, they're not done yet. Almost, though.
Yeah,
Not much longer.
yeah.
Yes, you could have an alternate, but that's. there's only
Anybody
one
want to be
appointment.
an alternate? I know it is. It's like, wing. But the people on that are really brilliant.
Yes, they are.
Teen Services, so we have three. Trails Development,
I'll be on that one as well.
oh, great. Okay, and then,
Then the other one, I've got 3 people who want to be on, I just have to figure out how
Okay.
many people.
okay, that's good. You got that all, Teresa? Tricia, thank you. Sorry. It's getting late. See, it's 8:06.
Ready to throw in the towel.
Thank you, sorry. See, I'll be calling everybody. You know, at school too, all the kids run together. They all look the same. I call everybody the same name. You.
You and George Foreman.
Yeah, I'm terrible. Yeah. I go through all my kids' names and I'm yelling at one of them.
Oh, George Foreman, all his kids are named
I
George
know, he
Foreman.
was smart.
It's easy.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much,
Girls, their names are
Commissioners.
Foreman.
Okay, we're going to move to E, discuss changing P&R Commission meeting day.
So I did talk to the Open Space and Ecology Committee, and they said for $200 each, they would be more than happy to give up Tuesday, the second Wednesday of the month.
Oh my gosh, get out.
$200? Gee.
That's what I thought. So we'll just budget for it. What do you
So
think?
pay him.
So yeah, they will move their meeting from the second Wednesday of the month to a different Wednesday,
So we'll be the second Wednesday?
if that's what the commission would like.
Is that okay with everyone?
Please.
So then our next meeting will be April 8th, correct?
What was that?
Sure. That sounds like a second
April
Wednesday.
8th would be the next meeting. Okay. That work
6:30.
for everybody?
Week of the month.
6:30.
And the same time, 6:30, does that work for everybody? New commissioners?
Yes.
Yes.
6:30, okay. Okay, very good. Okay, reports, chairperson. No, I have nothing to report at this moment. Okay, subcommittees,
I know two of them have already reported previously. I don't know if there's any other subcommittees that met.
well, the recreational facilities met on 2/13, and Day in the Park met on 2/19.
Okay.
So,
Is there anything you want to report from those?
recreational facilities, okay, help me, Jamie.
I think what we do is go over the prioritization of the list. And I
Right.
thought we reported on that in March.
Yeah.
Did we?
I thought we reported later in February.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
No, we, because when was our meeting? The 4th. Yeah, our
Oh.
meeting was the 4th, and that was the
Okay.
13th. I thought we did too, because.
So what the subcommittee did?
I thought,
Thanks a lot.
I forgot,
Yeah, I thought what we talked about was putting new items on the capital improvement plan. We talked about what was, you already put what was on this one. One of the items that came up that would be on the capital improvement plan going forward would be a smaller, like one of the endless swim pools up at the pool.
Yes.
That would be at a warmer temperature, so it would be more of a therapeutic pool. But not one of the small ones that you could just like have a one person, but the thought was to maybe have it big enough so you could have a small therapeutic class. So that would be one of the items that was asked to be put on the long-term capital improvement list. And I probably have the list of the other things in my office.
Are you familiar with the endless pools? They're fairly easy, I mean, by comparison to what it is to put in a pool. They're not very large. They can start at 8 to 15 feet, or they will do them custom for you. And they will make a tremendous difference. I think you'll get fantastic use of them and of one. And it will take up perhaps some of the grass, I suppose. But it's a real need. I've been using the Pomeroy Center because physical therapists will not let me use the cold water because of the new knee. So you need to be really in a warm water environment. I think this might be a great boon to this community, and I'd love to see it.
Can we place it where the baby pool used to be?
Actually, we're putting, the waiting pool is going to be operational. We're making that operational.
The baby pool?
The waiting pool.
The waiting pool?
W8, yeah. It's the pool that is for younger
Like
children.
that little, okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
That will be operational at some point. We're getting a new controller for
Good.
that.
Good.
So that will be operational.
and then I remember
We
we
talked about the trails.
trails.
We spent a lot of time on the trails, but I think that was the only other item.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Jamie because I don't remember any
Well-
other item being added.
You know, like, hang on.
It was a long time ago for me. I'd have to look.
Yeah.
Hang on.
But
You know,
I-
I'm going to talk a little bit about the basketball a little bit, and I will mention to you that you guys must think I'm absolutely in love with it. Quite frankly, March Madness starts tomorrow, but
Started tonight.
it did for the minor little.
Yeah, for the minor little
The
team.
big things start tomorrow. But anyway, actually on Facebook, this just came up in the last 3 weeks that people have started talking about, you know, what are we doing with the kids in town? We don't have anything for that age group. All of a sudden, this just cropped out of nowhere. And I thought, isn't that interesting when an idea meets its time? And so that's something that I'm always, and I watch the skateboard designs, and I've talked to Michael Barnes about it. And when they were talking about, having some elements on one side and some on the other, in my mind, I see no problem with them, when there's nobody on that court, to be able to go between them and have the distance and have the speed and all that. That's good use of space. My fear is that if somebody wants to go down there and shoot baskets, that's a problem. And we do have kids in town that want to play, but they can't field a team. We don't have enough kids that want to play specific sports, but they will come down and get into a game with a bunch of kids that are here. Also, a lot of the Jericho folks come down and play, and so if they're there, they just happen to be a little bit bigger than the other kids who show up to play, and they don't have that second court. So I'm always thinking about it, and I'm trying to think of a way that I've tried, and I've seen other people, I've been with people who are trying to manipulate that basket up and down and up and down. It's pretty tedious, and I don't know what we can do about it. It's going to be something that it prevents us from having 2 integral courts at a space where everybody shows up to play. And as I said, I've showed you pictures of 30-plus kids, and only 10 can play at a time, and 20 are waiting. And what I did tell Stuart was, recently I've seen some activity down there that I'm not happy with. It's different from the way it's been in the past. I'm not certain exactly, can't designate what they're smoking.
Okay, but you know what, we got to go back. I understand your
I appreciate
concerns,
that.
yeah,
But, that's
Yeah.
the thing that I will,
yeah.
I'm devoted to trying to find a way to find space, because, these kids find something else to do. They get over on the swing sets and
Yeah.
things in the park, and they make the mothers nuts, so.
Okay. But the rest of the recreational facility committee, we talked about the trail, possibly getting the,
Right, the one from Alvarado up to Tulare, which is on
but
the,
I'm talking about the one, Crocker.
right,
And paving, you were talking about
right.
maybe
That
getting
Public
an
Works, Public
estimate,
Works
yeah.
is looking at that.
Okay. So that's really all that we can report on that. And then Day in the Park on 2/19, me and Russ met.
Yes.
And let's see if I can remember everything we
I
talked
can't
about.
remember everything we talked about.
We talked about, you want to help me, Russ, here? You're sleepy.
No, Bonnie can attest, I forgot something the other day, and she had a field day with
Yeah.
it. We talked about increasing the budget
Right,
and looking at continuing what we did last year, which is to avoid spending money on higher-end bands and looking at increasing the offerings, particularly for teenagers and young adults. And I think we were going to wait and see how the budget turned out and if we were going to be able to get that extra.
yeah, and we looked at
Extra oomph.
four big event.
Well,
Equipment.
and as I recall, you wanted to make sure that through that we were able to
Yeah.
have a,
Zip line.
the zip line, the full-size zip line.
Terrific.
Yeah, we could do that. That'd be
And when you get to the budget, there's a $10,000 increase in the request.
okay with the.
Just because it's
meeting.
in the request doesn't mean it will get approved,
Yeah,
but it's in the
will
request.
happen.
Good.
Okay,
Dream come true.
so that was a discussion there. Okay, so that's good. Any other subcommittee,
I can't.
Smith? Okay. Now we're going to set subcommittee meetings. Here we go. We go down the list, or,
I know fundraising is still trying to meet, so that would probably be a good one to do. Public art, we probably should meet after the council meeting, just to report back and get that one moving forward.
Right.
From the, I hear Teen Services is probably going to want to meet, from everything I was hearing tonight. Concerts in the Park is going to meet again, is what I heard.
Yeah.
Right.
well, since the budget's coming, should they in the park meet again, and we, what do
Sure.
you think, Russ? Bonnie?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Day in the park.
I saw you already have your Restoration Day picked, April
Yeah.
25th.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
There's two.
yeah.
Stuart, where are we with skate park right now?
It's going tomorrow night to the city council for them to approve option 2, which is
Oh,
what the
that's
subcommittee
right.
said.
Yeah.
It's also talking about a preliminary financing plan
That's
that was talked at the subcommittee.
Yeah.
And then to also talk about allocating funding so the construction documents can be
Yeah,
That's right.
Um,
Good. And
drawn.
that's going to council when?
tomorrow night.
tomorrow night. And what time's that?
7:30.
7:30. I don't know if you can make that, Lyle. It's will be interesting.
Okay.
The city council, the skate park.
Social media is all at Twitter. Wow. It's getting late.
I know,
We'll have fun.
it's dark.
What?
Okay, so that's all for the subcommittees that should meet?
That's what I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I have. I mean, if there's any others that want to meet, that would be,
I think that's good.
Yeah,
it's a short month, though,
yeah.
just to let you know,
Okay,
just to
let's
remind you.
just- yeah.
And you are going to have the rest of the budget to talk about next,
Oh, right,
Month.
right. Okay, so,
and the mission statement if you get to it.
right. Okay, so those are so will you repeat to me what commission?
I have concerts in
subcommittees?
the park, day in the park, fundraising, public art, teen services.
Okay,
And did you want to know the commissioners that were on those, or?
no, I have that.
Okay,
Thank you.
welcome.
Okay, commissioners. Anybody have anything?
Nope.
I have one thing. We've have a couple of issues at the dog park where we do have some misunderstanding, I think, about what aggressive dogs are, and trying to explain to some of the participants that if their dog is off leash, comes in off leash, and immediately runs and attacks another dog, that's an aggressive dog. And they're saying, but this is, this is a play at your own risk thing. And I'm saying, no, it says no aggressive dogs. So, well, my dog is not aggressive at home. Well, So anyway, I did talk to the police chief about this, and what is going to try to be done now is that the Humane Society has procedures for dogs that bite dogs, and dogs that bite humans, and dogs that bite dogs. If you report them, they really do have a really pretty extensive reporting process and quarantine and checkups without, it's like having a parole officer. They check up on you without notifying you and so forth. Dogs who bite people can be taken immediately. So that was going to be forwarded to Wendy to see if it can't get put into our publication so that everybody in town knows what the procedure is. What often happens is a dog bites another dog, the person whose dog gets bit doesn't know what their recourse is, and so this will educate the public. That was it.
Okay. And I just have one thing. I asked the staff to put in our packets the rules and procedures for the City of Brisbane commissioners and committees for the new commissioners, and also just to give us a refresher course of what our obligations are. So everyone has these. So be sure to look them over. Okay, any other commissioners? Okay, down to staff.
Hi. We have a few new programs that are out there right now. We have one that it's very new, so I don't really know how many people know about it. It's up on the website. I have flyers out. It's called Well-Deserved Health and Wellness. It's 3 workshops that introduce various tools and techniques that will help you increase your productivity while decreasing your stress levels in the workplace. Those start on the 23rd. There's a workshop that starts on March 23rd. There's one on April 6th, and there's one on April 20th. It's all up online for registration if anybody's interested in that. We have the spring camps going on right now. We're getting full. A couple of them are already full. That starts on March 30th. Tennis lessons will be starting at the end of the month for children as well as adults. All of these flyers are out and online. And summer camp registration opened up on the 10th of the month for residents, and that's going well. Ben actually has a couple new things up at the pool that I asked him to, since he has more information on it, to speak on. So.
Hi, sorry, I'm a little under the weather, but my name's Ben Dieterle. I'm the aquatics coordinator over at the pool. We recently reopened March 2nd after our renovations for 2 months. They did a really nice job, really neat. So come stop by, and I'll be happy to show you around and all the progress that they made. Some of the new classes that we have for this spring is Aqua Zumba. She's offering it once during the week from 4:30 to 5:30, and that's an online registration class that you need to sign up before joining. Also, we have lifeguarding classes coming up in April. We're offering 2 sessions, one session being on the weekends, and then the second session being a Monday through Friday class. That correlates with the spring break for Terra Nova High School. So a large majority of our staff actually comes from Terra Nova, so trying to work on that relationship of getting more lifeguards in. And we also started a brand new program with Littman Middle School. We're doing an after-school junior lifeguard club. So they come down after school, and we teach them kind of the basics of lifeguarding in hopes that it kind of feeds into our staff as they get older to the right age of being 15. So we go over just basic CPR, first aid, how to save someone, rescue tubes, get them comfortable with the equipment and the facility as well, but no certification at the end of the class, just kind of a fun thing to come down and use your time productively. Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Very good.
Oh, I have one more thing. So, and then on Sunday is the Shakespeare Festival, As You Like It, right, at Mission Blue. And it's something the Women's Club had been doing for many years, and Parks and Recreation has taken it over this year. So that's happening.
But we're
Sunday,
more than
2
happy to
o'clock.
give it back to the Women's Club next year.
Okay. They didn't call me this year.
Okay, is that for the programs? Okay. Commission matters. Anybody have any commission matters? Okay. Written communications. I don't have anything, except for just the citizen that came today. With that. Okay, Commissioner calendar.
So for next time, you do have, you know, as much as the budget as you don't get done for the rest of this evening,
Yeah.
you'll go over next week, next time.
Well, let me ask, that's what I blanked out. We have 25 more pages to do. Do you want to do that next time and start with the adult activities? Is it's 8?
I think we
30.
should.
I'm good for another 2 hours.
Oh, yeah.
If we take a 5-minute break and go a little bit longer, it's up to you.
I think next time.
I think next time also, but that's just my preference.
Um,
I haven't eaten. I've just like come literally straight from work.
yeah,
So I've like had traffic all the way here, so it would be great if I could like eat something.
Does that work for you,
Hello.
Stuart? I thought there was something in particular.
No, if you do
Yeah.
April 8th, that'll be fine, because that'll give
Okay.
me enough time to get any changes that you would like in to the manager.
Okay.
Renee,
Next time.
One thing, you know, we have this citizen that came and brought her concerns. How are we going to address that?
I was going to get to that.
yeah, I told him we're going to put that in the,
So you also have the mission statement for next time, and then for the citizen who came in, I had actually spoken to her, and I am working with the city attorney as to what kind of language we could put at the gazebo. So, and we, you know, so I think that is, you know, and working with the city attorney and the police department on what, you know, if there's any changes that need to be made on when we give guidance for the noise ordinance. I mean, I don't know if that's really something, unless you want to change the policy of having, that you're going to allow more noise, I don't know if that's really an issue you need to talk about. You just want us to sign it, and I'm talking to the attorney on how to sign it, and then talking with the police department, and then also letting people know that if they are bothered by noise, they need to call the police. I mean, I understand that you don't want to, people may not want to, but that's what they're here for.
and she mostly was talking about on the weekends, correct?
Mostly. I mean,
But don't we have that officer on the weekends?
not yet. I mean,
Not
they
right
come
now.
in. They come in the summer. Yeah, or
Okay.
for the summertime. And you know, the specific one that concerned her was actually on private property. It wasn't actually at our park. That actually triggered this at this point. But I mean, I agree. You know, I live
okay.
on Santa Clara. You know, Jamie living on Tulare. I mean, it's a bowl. You do hear the noise.
Yeah.
And so posting it, and you know, and also letting people know that if you have a concern, 467-1212, call the police. That's their non-emergency number. They're more than happy to respond. And then also, the noise ordinance has changed the way that the police are allowed to respond. They're able to now take ambient noise prior to an event. See, what it used to be was that they had to take ambient noise at the event and then take it, so ambient noise without the sound, then be there for 15 minutes of the sound. Now they can take ambient noise before, and they only need to be on site for 10 minutes to monitor the sound. So it's going to make it a lot easier, and it's really more, I think, of people getting used to that change and having people call when they have a problem in the community. So, you know, maybe one of the things that we can do is announce that in the City Star, put it on, you know, our blog and other things, just to get the word out. But, you know, if all the conversation is going to be about us posting it,
Yeah.
we're already working on that.
Yeah.
One point, I was really concerned about the fact that we have, our impromptu use is now becoming a source of a lot of noise, perceived noise. And that's a concern of mine, because in my mind, the impromptu use was people coming and having picnics with their families and everything. And those who rent space, we do get an opportunity to give them some instruction or give them some advice about what's acceptable. But the impromptu use of, you know, setting up boom boxes with speakers and so forth, that really does need some kind of signage that will advise.
Correct, and we will do that. So I don't know if you really need it to
Yeah.
have a conversation about,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
but we are working on it. I mean,
Yeah.
I spoke to the citizen, and we talked about this, and we are in process.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Commissioner Calendar, back to that. So, okay, wait. So we're not going to go through the budget?
No.
We're going to pick it up Next meeting, the 8th. Okay,
Yeah, so-
thank you.
So budget and mission statement will probably, and then reports from the subcommittees is probably going to
Right.
be
Meeting.
2 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't we make the agenda where we do all that stuff top and put the budget last?
Okay,
So we'll go through it quicker,
okay.
okay?
And the mission statement isn't time critical, just to,
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 8:31.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Jamie.
Lyle, nice to meet you.
Well, what do you think, Lyle?
I think a lot.